Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This is MansaAnkara, and in today's recipe I will be showing you how I make my favorite Nigerian vegetable soup. I call it vegetable stew because it looks more like a stew, and it is also called Efo Riro, and it is just a really delicious stew base. No tomatoes used today. It's just a delicious stew base, and you add lots and lots of green leafy vegetables. Very healthy for you, great source of iron, and lots more. So join me in the kitchen. Let's get cooking. To start with, I would be introducing the ingredients, and this is my goat meat. It has the skin on and it's smoked, so it has a really delicious smoked flavor to it. I love it. You can use any meat of your choice. You can use beef, you can use chicken, pretty much whatever you have. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my pot because we're gonna start by cooking the meats. And I'm also going to be using some smoked turkey. This dish, I find out that anything smoked just elevates and builds up all the flavors. So I have some smoked turkey, and this here is some cow feet. Yes, nicely washed and clean. And this right here is some tripe. Yes, some cow tripe, also known as shaki. Yeah, this is what I'm going to be adding to my pot in addition to the goat meat. And to season my meat for cooking, I am going to blend a scotch bonnet pepper and some of that red onions and some scallions. I like to add scallions because I like the taste that it gives to the meat stock each time I'm cooking. So I get that all blended together with a little bit of water to get my blender going, and then pour that into the meat. I just rinse my blender with no more than 1/3 of a cup and just put it in there. This is some beef bouillon. You can use salt, and I'm adding some of that and also a little bit of salt to taste. I am not adding any water at this point, if you can see, and I'm also adding just a little bit of thyme. I don't want the thyme to overpower the taste of the meat, so just a little goes a long way. No more than half of a teaspoon. You can adjust your spices to your own preference. So I'm just going to stir all of that blended ingredient, and you want to let this come to a boil so that the meat will release their own juices. It's going to make your meat so tender and just delicious. All the spices are gonna seep right through it. So you just want to cover it up and bring it to a boil, and this is about 15 minutes into it, and as you can see, it has come to a beautiful boil, and it looks so good, and it smells so good, and already tasted delicious. But yeah, this is all the juice that came from the meat that we have in the pot. I have not added any extra water apart from my blended ingredients, and as you can see, it is already looking nice and thick, the broth. So this is what it looks like, but the meat is not yet done. So at this point, I'm gonna add enough water to get all the meats cooked. Okay, just add enough water. You do not need a lot of extra stock, so you don't need to add so much water. Cover it and let the meat cook until it's tender. In the meantime, these are the vegetables that I'm going to be using today. This is some fresh baby spinach. Now this contains a lot of water, and I like my vegetable soup to be really dry, more like that's why I call it a stew. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash this with warm water, more like you're blanching it, and then squeeze out the excess water. But I love to add me some fresh leafy vegetables in my food. I'm also going to be adding some chopped spinach. This is the frozen one. This one tends to have most of the liquid out, so once you wash it real good and squeeze it out, it becomes really dry. So I like the combination. This right here is my blended red bell peppers. You need a lot of red bell peppers for this. No tomatoes. This is what is going to elevate all the flavors. I am also going to be using one big red onion, and for heat I will also be using some hot peppers. That is optional if you don't like any heat in your food. Now, another vegetable that I love so much to add in here is my ugu leaves. This, I believe, is pumpkin leaves. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, my Nigerian people. This right here, one of my friends in New York, Mercy, told me to try it, and I've always loved it. So I'm going to be adding some to it. And I also have some fresh shrimps. I love to have a different assortment of protein in my African dishes. They just elevate it, and this shrimps is the bomb. So yes, we got some shrimps, and this right here is also a must-have. This is my oil, and this is palm oil. Yeah, this is what we're going to use. And this is another must-have. This is my locust beans, also known as nititu in the Gambia and iru in Nigeria. A must-have, a local spice, very delicious. I am also going to be using some crayfish. This is just basically, if you don't have this, you can just use shrimp powder. They do the same thing. It's the same taste that we're going to get. Now, to start with my stew, I'm going to blend some of my onions and also the hot pepper. Remember, my red bell pepper is already crushed, so I would just add it once I'm done blending. Now, checking on our pot, we have a meat boiling really nicely. At this point, it is almost tender, and I'm going to add also some stockfish. Yes, this was dried, so I soaked it in water for almost 24 hours to get it to soften up. So I'm going to add it at this point and let it all cook together with the meat, so that by the time the meat is tender, everything will be done at the same time. So yeah, this is what it's looking like. As you can see, the stock has gone down considerably, so we're just going to cover it and let it to cook completely. And this is what it looks like. This is a finished product. You can see that the stock has gone down quite a bit, and what we have left in the pot is just rich stock. So yes, this is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all the meat out. I have already taken the smoked turkey out. Yes, I took out the smoked turkey because that boils faster. So now I have the smoked turkey and all the meats on my baking tray. You can choose to fry this, but I go for a healthier option, so I just put it on in my oven and turn on the broil settings, which is your grill, and just grill it just to give it a light, golden brown color. You don't want it to be too dry. Okay, so into my oven it goes, and here is the stockfish. I am not putting that in the oven. Yeah, I'm just putting that aside, and this is my leftover stock that I got, really nice and thick, as you can see. I'm gonna use that to lighten up my stew a bit, so we're going to put that aside as well and start off with a stew. Now, in a clean pot, I'm going to add my red oil. This is my palm oil. If you don't have this, I guess you can use regular vegetable oil. It will still come out decent. You can still enjoy it that way. To that, I'm adding about 1/3 of a cup of chopped red onions. Yes, just put that in there in the hot oil and just start to caramelize it. I'm cooking on low heat right now because I don't want it to get burnt. This process is very important to get your stew started because you are starting to build up all the flavors. So to that, I'm going to be adding my locust beans. You can see that I went ahead off camera to crush them a little. I don't like to eat lumps of locust beans, but if you don't mind, you can just add the whole locust beans in there. I always have to get mine crushed. I'm not used to eating it whole. So yeah, I'm just trying to incorporate that, and this will, man, your neighbors will know that you're cooking something authentic. Okay. So yeah, on low medium heat, we're just gonna keep stirring to caramelize everything. And then I also like to add some crayfish at this point. Again, we're building flavors. Adding it right here makes all the difference. That oil is going to be well seasoned. And again, all the measurements and ingredients that I used in my recipes will always be listed in the description box below. So if you were interested, just click on there. There's a little arrow by the title. Once you click on it, it just expands, and that is the description box. I get a lot of people asking me. Now to this, I'm going to add my blended ingredients. As you can see, this is the onions and the peppers, and also the red bell peppers, the sweet peppers. Yes, guys. Yes, yes, yes. It smells so good in here. So now that it's well incorporated, I am going to go ahead and season up a little. Remember, my stock already has salt, so I'm just adding a little bit of beef bouillon. Stir that in, get it all incorporated. And at this point, you want to make sure that your heat is low because you do not want to get the crayfish, which is the shrimp powder, and that locust beans and the onions burnt. So turn down your fire and you want to cover it up. Now I don't close it all the way because I don't want this to boil. I want it to fry. So you need to open it up so that the steam can escape. And after 15 minutes, this is what it looks like. You can see that the color has even changed and it has reduced. This is what you're looking for, and the oil is already separated from the mixture. So this is an indication that this too is well fried. Now it's time to add my stockfish, because you guys know stockfish is kind of tough. Yes, it has been dried, so even though I boiled it, it still has that a little bit of texture to it. So I'm gonna put it back in to soften it up more, and it would also intensify the taste and flavors in the stew base. So this is it right there. Keep cooking on low heat still. Now it's time to add our meat. Remember the meat that we had boiled and put in the oven to give it a little color? Yes, what we want to do here is just to reintroduce it so that it could get all nicely coated inside the stew and all the flavors can just marry each other. At this point the meat is completely done and we are pretty much done cooking because everything at this point is done, but we just want to mix everything together. And as you can see, I added the good old stock that I got from boiling the meats earlier. So yeah, you just want to mix that all in together to get it all incorporated. And now I'm going to cover it up and just let it simmer on low heat for about 3 to 5 minutes, because like I said, they're all done at this point. I just want all the flavors to mingle and intermarry. Okay. This is what it looks like. Everything has been well incorporated. So at this point we're ready to add our leafy vegetables. I don't like to overcook my greens, so this is the perfect time to add it. And the first thing I'm going to add is the ugu leaves. Ugu is much tougher than spinach, so I add it first, and this is what it looks like out of the package. It came frozen, so I'm going to add that. Now the quantity of green leafy vegetables you would add would just depend on your preference, so add a little at a time. And now I'm going to add in my fresh spinach because I wanted to also release as much of its juices, whatever is left in there, as possible. So I'm adding it together with the ugu. Guys, you can see this is already looking so good. Some people like more of a stew in theirs than the vegetable, so I guess you can stop here. But for me, my family, we like a lot of greens in our vegetable soup. I mean, it's vegetable soup, come on, you gotta have a lot of green leafy vegetables. But I guess you can just add as much as you want. So I'm just mixing that in, and I would also cover it up to simmer for no more than maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and I will come back to check on it. And here we are. You can see it has wilted down quite a bit, the vegetables. If you guys are liking this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You can see that I went ahead and added the shrimp off camera. I forgot to show that, but yeah, I have the shrimps. I also don't like overcooking my shrimp because it's gonna get tough. So this is what I like to do, and it's gonna cook perfectly because all it needs is some steam. To top it off, I'm gonna add some of my frozen spinach. I did not add a lot because I already had a lot of vegetables in it, but like I said, in my house we like to eat a lot of greens in our vegetable soup, so I went ahead and added that. Yeah, so to finish it up, I'm also going to be adding some of my homemade smoked mackerel, and I've already deboned it and just left it in big chunks because anything smoked, like I said, just elevates the flavors in this dish. My husband really likes the fish in it, and yeah, the kids also love it. It is just so tasty. I like to add it at this point because it's already cooked. It's just to mix everything in. And I'm also going to finish it up with 1 tablespoon of crayfish. This is the bomb. If you add crayfish at the latter part, you are just building and building and building all that flavor. I love it. This is the last thing that I'm going to add. For those of you that do not know me, I am from the Gambia. I live in the United States. I am from the Gambia, and I'm married to a Nigerian man. So I had to learn how to cook all his favorite dishes. And boy, oh boy, when I tell you that dude is happy, he is good. Okay, so I covered it up for about 2 minutes and we're done. My stove is off. You can see we do not have a lot of excess oil. Everything is on point. Shrimp is on point. Nothing is overcooked over here. Everything is perfect. Okay, salt, all of that. Guys, when I uploaded my collard greens recipe, I mentioned that I would be showing you how we make an African version of green leafy vegetables, and this is it. I can say hands down that this is my favorite Nigerian soup. I must say, I eat a lot of Nigerian food. I make a lot of them, but this right here is my favorite. You can eat it over some white rice, brown rice. If you're on the low carb diet, you could eat it over some quinoa, bulgur wheat. But for me and my household, we like to eat it with some swallow. Yes, and that means fufu. My husband's favorite is pounded yam, and my favorite is some semolina because it's really light. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time here, you are absolutely welcome. My name is MansaAnkara. On this channel, I show recipes from all over the globe. To my returning subscribers, you guys already know I love you. Go ahead and hit on that subscribe button if you like what you see. And while you're at it, please click on that notification bell. It is the only way you will be able to find out when I upload a new video, okay? Go ahead and give it a thumbs up as well. And until I catch you in my next one, y'all stay safe and come join me, guys. Let's eat together. Bye, y'all.